we're going to be testing out this new paint, or this primer, Vic Hobby primer. Now, I've tested out the Vic paints about a few months ago. Was it 3 months ago, or maybe last year? Don't remember. But anyway, yeah, I did test them out, and clearly these are water-based. There's no need to use paint, thinner like Mr. Color Living Thinner or any other brands, because the paint will separate, kind of like that of spoiled milk, and it will mess up your airbrush. Trust me, I went through that. I went through a lot of cleaning. Now, I don't know how well this paint is on its. This primer is on its own. To paint it right out of the bottle. I'm going to pour a few drops here. Okay, interesting enough, it is very thick. It did come in very thick. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is. So I'm going to water it down using a little bit of water here. Then I'm going to mix it up. So I did 1:1 ratio. Okay, it's coming out a little too wet. Maybe it needs a little bit more. Almost there. So you gotta test this out so that way you can get rid of the spider webs that produces itself when applying this. This looks good. Let's test this out. I'm gonna zoom in, so hang tight. Pretty good. Until that turns off. Yeah. I'm painting these spoons because I wanted to test out the colors. Very nice. Good coverage though. Alright. First time using a water-based primer. I know that I think there was either a white primer and a black primer from Vic Hobbies, but I could be completely and utterly wrong. I don't know if the summer sale is still going, that you guys can probably pick it up at Hobbyland Japan. Let me wait until this dries, and then we'll test out the colors that I'm going to be using. Just 3 colors. Okay, we're going to be testing out the colors, and we'll start with the yellow. Now, yellow is a bit of a pain for me to work on because it actually is a little bit too wet. So don't put any what do you call it, thinner water to thin it down. So let's try this. Light passes. This light passes. It's clear that if you want to paint prime the part white or apply white paint and then paint the yellow right over it. But I want to see how well it looks. Looks okay. Very nice. Obviously, there is a bit of the grayish undertone, so if it was painted white, it would be a lot better. Let me just give it another pass. And then we'll let it dry and we'll review the dry one. Right now it's wet. We'll wait until it dries. Let me paint the next color. Alright, so the next test is going to be the insignia red. This time I put just 2 drops of water with a lot, like at least 7 or 8 drops of paint. And let's see how it comes out. Now, just so you know, this is water-based, so there's no smell whatsoever. It is perfectly clean. No odors, no nothing. However, that does not mean you should not be wearing a mask. Because that way, the one thing you don't want is the particles that go up your nose or in your eyes or anywhere, any place you want. That's a strong red. Very strong red, but not bad. That's good. All right. We'll review that. Oh, where the heck did that drop come from? There we go. We'll review that once it dries. Let's go to the next color. Okay, and the final test is going to be the blue color for Vic Hobby. So let's see how this works. This one I didn't put no water to prime it, to thin it down a bit. It's going down nice and smooth. And I actually like this color. This is a nicer color tone of blue than the other colors that I use. Let me review this and then we're gonna check it out in a minute. Let me wait until it dries, okay? Alright, here are all 3 spoons already painted in the 3 colors that I'm displaying here, and I apologize for extra sound that you're hearing right now. Is just because it's getting a little warm in here. The weather is getting a lot hotter than normal, so clearly I have to have my AC on. However, I wanted to share this with you. So here's the red, which technically speaking may be a little too dark for this, you could say. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be using this red color with this, but I think I am. It's very few red parts. This is plus the missile pod that's under the shield is the only parts that I think. Oh, and I'm sorry, the chin, which I'm going to pop the head off of this guy right now. This guy needs to be painted as well. But other than that, that's it. That's the only amount of red there. So, no big deal. Just need to take this whole thing apart, clean it up, and and I'm done. Same thing with the blue. I think the blue is a little bit too lighter, but I think it's fine for this. You know, the yellow, of course, needs a back. This is gray, of course, and if I painted it white and then painted the yellow over it, it should show off a little bit more brilliance here for this. And of course, this is the only yellow part there, so it doesn't match very well with this. But the coverage of this paint goes very well. I'm very pleased with Vic paints, with Vic Hobby paints, and I think the sale is still going at Hobbyland Japan, or is it done? No, it's done. I'm sorry. Me reviewing it, the website again. They're done. Maybe later on, and you know, when they have their next sale, we'll talk about more Vic paints. But the one thing that I'm a bit disappointed is the primer. It says water-based primer gray, and it could be airbrushed, but it could be brushed or airbrushed. And I tested this using plain old water. It comes out too wet. Even if I add more of this, it takes a while for it to kick in, or to maybe the mixture is not that good. I then ended up doing a test run and using leveling thinner, and same thing. I decided to do it dry, and unless you have a 0.5, yeah, I mean, I had a 0.5 nozzle, and maybe you have to increase the air pressure on this. This thing goes on really thick and very difficult to spray. I was having some difficulties with this. This reminded me of, I believe, the when I bought the, which one was it? Was it the AK primer or the MIG ammo primer? One of those two, which was having a tough time painting this, getting this out of the airbrush. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe the temperature in the room was not right. I don't know. But I was having a hard time with this. This guy was not coming out of my airbrush at all. So I had to stick with the tried and true, you know, Mr. Surfacer primer, which I'm going to be priming all these parts right now. So, good test run. Let's now get all these parts primed. Take and get this on this, you know, what do you call it? Get it all taken apart, so I can then begin painting everything. So give me some time for that. Okay, now that all the parts are primed, and it's a lengthy process of me priming all these parts, I am now going to be ready to begin painting using the Vic paints, the Vic Hobby paints. And I'm going to start going dark, then going to light. So I'm going to begin with the gunmetal. Gunmetal looks out pretty good. I give it 1:1 ratio. 1 part paint and 1 part water. Remember, this is water-based. This is not your standard mixture of alkaline, whatever it is. You definitely need to clean it out. Thin it down with water. And test it first. Don't just put it in and then go to town with it. Always make sure you test it. I'm going to begin with this little guy right here. I'm doing it from a distance here to get a good coverage. And if I have to do a closer shot, I'll wait until it dries. It is coming out a little wet. Let's do a mix. There we go. And you may have to take your time on this. Don't rush. Don't just go splash and that's it like a regular oil clad. I am seeing that it is coming out a little too wet. Now, if you have to spray it on a cardboard to see how it comes out, it is coming out good, but if you go too strong, then, you know. I'm going to try to do from a distance like this. Going to do a standard light coverage first. And then I will then do a second coverage in a moment. It is coming out too wet. If I spray it with a little bit of the air, it'll break up the paint. And I'm just realizing that right now. This is not like flat surfaces. I'm just spraying it with air. Maybe pour a little bit more paint inside. Should be agitated. We're gonna have to try it on this one. Let's do something bigger. Just check the there we go. Oh my god. It was just a light, and then it came out huge, fast. I'm gonna try to spread out this paint. I don't know how well the paint's gonna look once it finishes drying. See, that's fine. The distance is okay. Close up is gonna be a pain. Put this to the side. Let me just mix this up a bit. Try another leg. And you know what? I just realized, maybe because I have the PSI a little too high. Lower it down. There we go. Because I had it high with the primer. See, here's the issue that I'm looking at. It gives me these little bulbs thing. these little droplets coming out. Now I wonder if this is just basically how it's supposed to be now, wet, and then when it dries, it looks different. I have a fan on to dry up all these parts, and then we'll hopefully. Oh my God, it is. Ooh, I'm not liking how the sand is. Wow. Doing the testing on the spoons was one thing. Doing it this way. Let me put a little bit more paint inside. Because these are not pre-thinned. This is the 0.5. This is the 0.5 needle that I'm using. Right now, I added more paint, no thinner, on top of the thinner that's already pre-thin paint that's inside here. This one's almost okay. And again, it is doing this weird look to it. I am not pleased. I'm really not pleased with this. Let me continue painting all the metallic parts of this kit. Not the white parts or any of the other colored parts. And then I'm going to wait until it dries, and we're going to review it. And then I will, if it's supposed to be like this, okay. If not, I have my original paints. I have all my other colors. Let me, like this one, I'm not digging how this is, and I'm doing it from a distance of at least 6 inches. But I am not feeling it at all. But maybe when I wait until this is dry, we'll review it, and then I'll make a decision whether I should continue with this paint or not.